Let's go, let's go, let's go. Episode 489. 488 was yesterday. Me and the wife actually did an episode on the Montauk Project. Go and check that out. And its connection to Stranger Things, connection to X-Men. It was a very metaphysical, odd conversation. We had fun. We talked about Obama's chef as well. So check that out when you have a second. But for now, let's get right into it. It's Joe Rogan, Jim Gaffigan have a conversation. I thought I was going to play a clip for you guys where they were just laying out the charges against Trump and, you know, give people a better understanding of that. But what it quickly turned into was someone who is deep in the leftist mindset having an argument with Joe Rogan about who's more corrupt, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And it becomes not heated, but tense. Heated enough, I think. I think Jim is more heated than he's letting on. And Joe Rogan holds his ground very firmly, as he always does. It's great. It's great. My opinion. It's very interesting to see someone try to walk when their feet are firmly dug into the sand. Very interesting to see them walk. His argument falls apart a few times, and you're about to hear the regular mindset of someone on the left who feels a certain way, but doesn't quite have the words to back it up. And when you do that with Joe Rogan, you look silly every single time. But before I get into that, I gotta bring you over to the store. This is IamCoachColin.com. This is our newest design, public enemy #1, and you know who that is. The cricket connoisseur himself. A lot of people think it's the they. If the they has a face, it would be this gentleman right here. He's penetrated government cabinets, as he said, businesses of all kind, and I think I've named him properly. Public enemy #1. This is on IamCoachColin.com. Also, we have a design called the Certified Pureblood T-shirt for those of you who survived the deepest, craziest psychological experiment known to man. Go ahead and get that unjabbed and proud shirt. Go ahead. Certified Pure Blood. Then we have the Soul Not For Sale shirt as well. Go ahead and get that t-shirt. And then we have the Great Resist. You've heard of the Great Reset. This is the Great Resist. Much better. No crickets over here. Eat as much meat as you want. Drive your car wherever you want. No 15-minute cities. It's the good life, you know? The way things were in the 90s. You remember? You remember the 90s? Anyways, guys, that is on IamCoachColin.com. And if you want 10% off of any purchase that you make on the site, please put in the discount code IamCoachColin. That's all one word, all capital letters, one L in the Colin gets you 10% off. And if you've already done that on our website, thank you so much. You are much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to that one person watching in Japan, what's up? I don't know how to say hello in Japanese, but what's up? Let's get right into it.
No, exactly I know, but some of it is like, but that's...
And so 2 other ongoing criminal probes, both related to 2020 election interference. Those are serious.
Yeah, I think the January 6th thing is pretty bad.
Well, the January 6th thing is bad, but also the intelligence agencies were involved in provoking people to go into the Capitol building. That's a fact.
So wait a minute. You're saying that guy, what's his name?
Ray Epps.
Yeah, you really think that he
I don't know, but I do know that
every other... pretty apparent. I think he's going to sue Fox.
I think every other person who was involved in January 6th, who was involved in coordinating a break-in into the Capitol and in instigating people breaking, they were all arrested. This guy wasn't. Not only that, they were defending him in the New York Times, the Washington Post, all these different things, because saying that Fox News is unjustly accused him of instigating. Well, he clearly instigated. He did it on camera. I don't know if he was a Fed. I know a lot of people think he was a Fed. The people that were there were calling him a Fed. What I do know is when they asked the FBI said, we can't tell you whether or not there were people that were there that were doing that. Now, there's been reports that there was hundreds of agents that were there that were doing that. I don't know if that's true either. But I do know that they do use agent provocateurs to disrupt peaceful protests. It's a common tactic. What they do is say if there's a like the World Trade Organization is a great example, and that was in, I think, the 90s in Seattle. And so what they did was they were protesting the World Trade Organization. They were doing it peacefully. It was a big problem. So what they did is they sent in, allegedly, agent provocateurs. They started smashing buildings and lighting things on fire. Now it's not a peaceful protest. Now they can bring in the police. Now they can start arresting people. And then they created a no-protest zone where literally if you had a pin on your jacket that was the WTO with a red line through it, they would not let you cross. You could not cross with a pin that was against the WTO and go to work. There was a no-protest zone. So they silenced protest, which is a part of our freedom of speech. So this is a tactic that some government agencies use to stop
but
peaceful
wait a minute.
protest.
All right, so what you're saying is on January 6th, that this event that obviously Trump organized, forget about the Giuliani stuff and the whether they thought that it was
He definitely encouraged people to protest.
Yes. But all right, so you're saying that like the FBI and Nancy Pelosi and I'm
not saying Nancy Pelosi.
No, but like you're saying that like they're like, we'll make this instead of an awkward protest, we'll encourage it so that it'll backfire on Trump rather than being this rising of people that believe that there was election corruption.
I think it's certainly possible.
I think that would be hard. You think it's possible? I think it's possible.
You don't think it's – wait a minute. You think it's hard to do?
I think that, that the FBI or the CIA saying, hey, Trump lost this election. Because here's what you're kind of implying. Trump lost the election. He is such an amazing communicator, and he's convinced this loyal base that there was election interference. We don't want them to protest. How we can end this is if we encourage people to go beyond protesting to essentially go into the Capitol and take a shit in the hallway. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, I don't see why that would be of use. Like, I'm more suspicious why Trump didn't call for backup when, for the Capitol Police. You know what I mean? It's like there was, and that like Michael Flynn's brother was, you know what I mean? Like there's way more conspiracy stuff against Trump, and then I think the slim likelihood that people were like, oh, Trump's a problem. Let's just get these people that are loyal to Trump to run into the Capitol so that we can arrest 300 people. Does that make sense?
No. No, it doesn't make sense. No, I think it's a standard tactic, especially when someone is the enemy of the intelligence agencies. With Trump, that's absolutely the case. Trump set himself up against the intelligence agencies. He did it openly and he did it brazenly. And a lot of people think it's very dangerous. Like the intelligence agencies are very important. You want to find out what's going on in other countries. You want to find out what the threats to America are. You want to find out what terrorist activities are going to be taking place and stop them before.
And, JFK had his problem with the intelligence agencies.
I mean, look, it's unchecked power, right? That's the deep state. It's unchecked power. And I think Trump was very open about his disdain for the intelligence agencies. He created enemies in the intelligence agencies. It's standard for intelligence agencies in this country to encourage agent provocateurs or to employ agent provocateurs.
And so you're saying when he was in Helsinki and he was saying, I believe Putin more than my intelligence community, that was something the intelligence community was like, we're going to get him.
Well, I think they were going to get him in any way that they could because he's an enemy of the intelligence agencies. And he was openly talking about them being incompetent and being corrupt. And he fired Comey, and, he was against the FBI. And, You know, look, it's a very dangerous thing. You talk to people that are in intelligence agencies. Like, it's a very dangerous thing for a president to be at war with the intelligence agencies and to do it so publicly. And I think it's without a doubt, when you have a gigantic, massive protest that a lot of people think is a threat to democracy, you have these people that are saying the election was rigged, and they're on the Capitol lawn, they're screaming and yelling. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that they would encourage people to do things that were unlawful. Instead of peacefully protesting, which is what everybody was doing on the outside, which is totally legal, to take that and escalate it to entering into the Capitol. Now you can lock things down, and now you have real clear evidence that this president is responsible for this insurrection attempt, and this is dangerous. This is a threat to our democracy, and he's never going to be president again. We're going to indict him. We're going to go after him. We're going to do all these different things. I think it's not like there's a lot of shenanigans going on both sides. It's not like a clear cut, like he shouldn't have done that and they should have done this. It's like there's a lot of fuckery, and there's a lot that's been going on throughout history. Whenever people have unchecked power and unchecked influence, and they have enemies, and Trump was their enemy.
Yeah, but I just, and I'm not saying that there isn't, you know, it's kind of like.
Did you see the hearings when they were grilling the FBI as to whether or not they had intelligence agencies there?
I probably saw some of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because instead of saying, no, we don't do that, that's illegal, they said, we can't answer that.
Yeah, but I think even, you know, and again, I'm not saying that there isn't corruption on both sides, but like in the end, for me personally, it's like when people complain about Biden's, you know, age or his cognitive decline or whatever, I'm like, the alternative to me is not acceptable.
The alternative being Donald Trump.
Yes.
And what's least acceptable about that, as opposed to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and all the corrupt?
I'm sorry. I have to. I'm sorry. The alternative is unacceptable. So we need somebody who can't think, who can't have a conversation with people one-on-one for more than 5 minutes, who says random, ridiculous things, falls down randomly, like is just all round pure cognitive decline. That is acceptable because Donald Trump is not. And then the reasoning he's giving around it is nothing. He basically wants to say, I don't like Trump at all, and I don't want him to be president because my feelings and my circle says so. That's what he wants to say, but he can't say it, and he needs facts. And you're going to see he has none. I'm sorry. Let's.
Well, I think, look, you know, Joe Biden's relationship with his son, or, you know, who obviously struggles with addiction. I mean, look, half of our friends struggle with addiction. It's like, you know, he's a compassionate father. Is there some of that, like, some, you know, let's make some money with our influence after we left office, or even
during office,
or even when we were senator, or stuff like that? Is there some of that? Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of that.
But compared to Trump, compared to like Jared getting a $2 billion contract, compared to like, you know, like even the documents, like the documents that like Biden had or Pence had versus like Trump literally showing the documents, some of them being of, I think we're going to find out, being really inconsequential. I'm not saying he was selling them. I'm not saying, I don't know if he was, you know, it was like a big swinging dick move. I think that's different than, you know, Pence having some documents in his house that he shouldn't have. But.
You mean Pence or Biden?
Pence had documents.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's really concentrating on Pence.
But like, by the way, I do want to make clear that I do have the approach of like, I could find something out and be like, all right, but like there is part of me that's like, it's very little doubt in my mind that Trump is the most corrupt and you know was, you know, like just the you know, it's not, you know, like Andrew Jackson was like, you know, did horrible things, but like, I don't begrudge someone having kind of like kick ass and take no prisoners kind of attitude. It's, you know, it's not the style. It's just, I think that there's repeated corruption. I mean, like
But there's repeated corruption with the Biden administration. The corruption with his son. First of all, his son struggling with addiction. That's not my concern. I mean, it sucks. It sucks if you have a kid that's hooked on crack and is a fucking complete disaster, and he pulls himself out of it. Congratulations for him. That's not what It's the corruption. It's the clear influence by foreign agents and foreign.
You don't think Trump has more corruption?
I don't think there's evidence the same way that there's evidence right now because of the laptop and because of the recorded conversations. There's real evidence that they were getting money from other countries.
What about Trump University? What about his fundraising things?
No. I'm not saying that he's clean. I'm not saying that he's clean, but I'm saying to dismiss the Biden corruption.
But you think that Biden's way more guilty of corruption than Trump?
I'm not saying that.
You're saying they're equal.
I'm saying they're both corrupt. And I'm saying that to say that Biden is like the good, that was like what everybody thought when he got into office. Finally, the adults are in the room now. But that's not really true. And nothing really changed that much once they got in there. It's not what, it's not like what everybody would like. There's a good guy and a bad guy. I think there's two bad guys. And I think there's corruption that exists in big business and in government that is on a scale that we probably would get violently ill if we found out the actual numbers and what really is going on in terms of influence and how decisions get made and about how certain people become immune to prosecution and certain...
Okay, from there they go on to the Epstein stuff because like Joe just kind of rears the conversation. What you're basically seeing is someone... Joe, who is on both sides of the argument. He can see both sides. He can acknowledge wrongdoings on both sides. He can acknowledge good parts, though, you know, Biden has few on I'm not Joe. He can acknowledge all the good and the bad on both sides. But then when you see Jim, what Jim's doing is acting like he can see both sides of the argument, but really can't at all. I mean, you can hear him and just like, there's very little doubt in my mind that Trump is the most corrupt. And he's backing it up with no facts. Like Trump University, and believe me, I'm not a huge Trump fanboy or anything like that. Like I think I would love to see RFK in office, and I would love to see Trump in office. I would love to see them both. And if they both merged together and RFK's vice or Trump became vice, I'd be happy either way. But the way that he was going about this is the leftist way. This is the leftist way. Right back to Malcolm X saying, be wary of a liberal person because they act like they're on your side. They act like you're seeing eye to eye, but in reality, they have this deep ulterior motive. Whereas somebody on the right is just very upfront about what they want. They're just, I've said it before. They're like, I'm taking care of my own. I want to make sure this happens. I don't want people to tread on me. And I want you to abide by what I say. Like, they're just really upfront about what they want. It's much better because then you know where you stand. You're eye to eye. Oh, man, that was a frustrating conversation to listen to. I'm sorry for interrupting the clip. I apologize. I know I don't do that. I pride myself on not doing that. But, oh, my gosh, that was crazy. Crazy. And then he just started talking about Mike Pence. He was and this is something people do as well. He's in an argument about Trump versus Biden and then brings up Mike Pence and his wrongdoing because he lacks the facts and knowledge to talk about anything that Trump's done wrong. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he lacks the actual knowledge. All he has in his mind is Orange Man bad, Orange Man corrupt. That's it. That's all I know. And also there's the aspect, and obviously Jim Gaffigan's never going to watch this. He's never going to see this unless I tag him on Twitter, which I might. But these people, they also have a circle of people that they know is going to see this thing. You're Jim Gaffigan and you're on the Joe Rogan Experience. Your friends are going to see this. Your family's going to hear about this. So you also have to kind of uphold the values that you've all sat in a echo chamber with. You have to echo those out as well, especially when you're on this big of a platform. This is the time to do it. So in his circles, in that leftist circle, he really held his ground. He said Trump is the most corrupt. He said Biden's a compassionate father. Oh, that was the best part. He said Biden's a compassionate father. And, you know, maybe he is. Maybe he is. I don't know the guy. Maybe he is, you know. Maybe he's just the viewpoint of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, and that's the story of a compassionate father, is really funny. But at the same, it could, you know, I'm willing to see that, you know. I'm sure it'd be hard having a son like that. And, you know, you got to be compassionate to your kids. You have to be. You got to have unconditional love for your kids. So good for him. Good on him. Best thing he's ever done. Literally. But yeah, interesting conversation to be had. And again, I do see both sides, but the fact that, like, what drives me nuts in this conversation is that Jim actually didn't see both sides. He just wanted to work in as much as he can that Trump is the bad guy, Trump is unacceptable, Trump is the person that we should be focused on, and anything that Biden has going against him right now shouldn't even be a focus because Trump. It's such a poor mindset to have. It's such a poor mindset to have. Especially since Joe Biden is the president right now. He's the president. You know, I'm pretty sure, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like Trump University, all that stuff happened before Trump was president. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like that happened before he was president. So to bring it up now is a little, I don't know. And then when you talk about the documents, whether it's Mike Pence or Donald Trump, Joe Biden has the same documents. So, and they were in a Corvette in Chinatown. I don't know which Chinatown, but they say it was in Chinatown, in some garage that was like unsecure. Like the video. Like the video. Bring us out of the shadow realm. Although with videos like this, I don't know if that's going to happen. You know, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit up IamCoachColin.com. Get yourself a Pure Blood t-shirt or a Public Enemy #1 shirt. And other than that, I am out. Episode 489. Let's go.